Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and it really is a good evening on this Armistice Day. And is my camera like friggin'? It's so heavy around the back that I have to basically readjust it constantly so I can actually get a good frame in. Hello once again. So, just a few minutes ago, I did I once again returned to Disposable Heroes, and after 3.5 years, it didn't necessarily recede or fall go into the background, because I still wept like an absolute kid, like a child, to be honest. And just to continue this trend of doing war-based songs for tonight, which I probably might do for like the next couple of days, I want to just check out Metallica's One, because I'm probably, when this Remembrance Sunday coming up, I probably just straight up might watch Johnny Got His Gun, in all honesty. Since I do know the proceeds of anyone who buys that movie go to Metallica, because Metallica owns that movie, which... isn't it kind of fascinating how much and I don't technically know whether it was Hetfield or Newsted or Lars who really had this deep love for literature or base a lot of their songs on it, because I'll say this right now, it's absolutely one of the best decisions I think you could possibly make. Iron Maiden have been doing that for years, and well, it speaks for itself, but there is nothing quite like One, however. And if you've never seen Johnny Got His Gun for yourself, then what the music video for One, which is what we're checking out today, is just, I believe, just excerpts from the movie, just because that's how it started. They just wanted to use clips from the movie just to make the music video, and then they find out it would just be easier and cheaper just to buy the rights to the movie outright. But with that being said, if you guys are going to check out the original video for yourselves, links will all be in the description down below. Let's begin. 1 in 3, 2, 1, and...
Cerebrum has suffered massive and irreparable damage.
You'll never know what has happened to him.
Had I not been sure of this, I would not have permitted him to live.
Where?
Father?
What happened?
I need help.
What is democracy? What is democracy?
Got something to do with young men killing each other, I believe.
When it comes my turn, will you want me to go?
For democracy, any man would give his only begotten son.
It is impossible.
I know this is really small things, but I love one of the better parts about doing music videos is that you can actually sort of see how they do it. And Lars holding the cymbals together is just... I'll just play it again.
It is impossible for
That's
this
sweet,
brave
man.
individual to experience pain, pleasure, memory, dreams, or thought of any kind. This young man will be as unfeeling, as unthinking as the dead until the day he joins them.
I don't know whether I'm alive and dreaming or dead and remembering.
How can you tell what's a dream and what's real when you can't even tell when you're awake and when you're asleep?
Where am
I can't remember anything. Can't tell if this is true or a dream. Deep down inside I feel the scream. This terrible silence stops in there. Now that the war is through with me, I'm waking Looking up, I cannot see that there's not much left of me. Nothing is real but pain now. Hold my breath inside with dear. Oh, please, God, wake me.
I just went ahead and chopped off everything. Oh, God. Please make them hear me. They won't listen. They won't hear me.
I'll wake me up. I'll be like this for years.
Hear me.
Back in the room, it's much too real. Impulse life that I must feel, but can't look forward to reveal. Look to the time when I will head to the dude that sticks in me, just like a wartime novelty, tied to machines that make me be. Cut this life off from me. Hold my breath as I wish for dear. Oh, please, God, wake me.
It's like a piece of meat that keeps on living. It won't always be like this, will it?
I can't live like this. I can't. Please, no, I can't. I can't. Help me. Somebody please help me. Mother, where are you? Help me, Mother. I'm having a nightmare and I can't wake up.
Now the world is gone, I'm just one. Oh, God, help me. Hold my breath as I wish for dear. Oh, please, God, help me.
Me lying here like some freak carnival show.
He is the armless, legless wonder of the 20th century.
It has a dignity all its own.
I need help. I'm in terrible trouble and I need help.
Don't you remember when you were little? How you and Bill Harper would bring a wire between the two houses so you could telegraph to each other? Still remember the Morse code?
Darkness imprisoning me. All that I see, absolute horror. I cannot live, I cannot die. Trapped in myself, body my only fear.
It's Morse code. For what?
SOS. Help.
Landmine has taken my sight, taken my speech, taken my hearing, taken my arms, taken my legs, taken my soul. Left me with life in hell.
What's he saying? He says, kill me. Over and over again. Kill me.
Don't you have some message for him, Padre? He's the product of your profession, not mine.
Kill me. I'm asking you to kill me. Thank you. Pray for me, please. Father.
Each man faces death by himself. Alone.
Goodbye, Father. Inside me, I'm screaming. Nobody pays any attention. If I had arms, I could kill myself. If I had legs, I could run away. If I had a voice, I could talk and be some kind of company for myself. Why don't they get it over with and kill me? I could yell for help, but nobody'd help me. I've just got to do something. I don't see how I can go on like this.
Oh, there we go, ladies and gentlemen. I honestly, I'm a little bit conflicted about something, ladies and gentlemen, and this is like the very first time I've never really looked at one quite like this before. But I think the reason why I think Disposable Heroes is kind of sadder in a sense is that I can at least take rest in the knowledge of the fact that Johnny Got His Gun was only based on a work of fiction, but then of course you have to understand. Perhaps you have to understand as well as I did is that casualties that came from war were just as probably more violent and a lot more visceral than perhaps what is actually depicted in one, because for the most part one more or less describes the movie, and it's gonna be really weird to like talk about the movie later without referring back to the song a lot. It's a guy who's basically been almost left to dead after an explosion. It destroys his legs, his arms, renders him blind, deaf, mute, unable to taste, and he's basically, as they said, he is a piece of meat that keeps on living. And the movie like spirals into absolute depression because it's, well, is it right in keeping him alive? Is it right to allow him the right to continue to live even after he sends out a Morse code telling them to basically end his life? Because how on that level of misery, that level of absolute aloneness of isolation is theoretically you've got to make Johnny. I'm guessing his name's called Johnny. I generally don't know this, but it's got to make him the most loneliest man in the world. That he is just a sentient piece of meat who can sometimes move his head about, but he can't hear anyone. He can't talk to anyone, and his life just becomes what you might almost want to call just inevitably waiting for the end. And I wonder if whether or not one, it seems like one seems to almost like not just reflect it. I mean, let's take Johnny out of the equation for 1 second, but what about those who come back from war? What about those who are stunned by PTSD, shell shock, trauma? Those who come back with amputated limbs? I mean, what about guys who just come back with only one leg, sometimes with no legs? What about people with severed arms or blinded in one eye? Things that they'll have to take with them to their graves. That's got to be one of the more difficult aspects. I think what one is, it's sort of like it deals with like the aftermath of a lot of conflict. Like if Disposable Heroes is the conflict itself, then one is the aftermath. What happens afterwards. And if there's one thing one absolutely gets down perfectly is that it's tried to be a little bit softer, but that doesn't stop them from going absolutely ballistic. Lars Ulrich, he is an absolute saint, because the way he plays the drums, it is the unmistakable rattle of machine gun fire. This guy isn't playing an instrument, he's playing weapons. And his biggest weapon is the fact that he begins and ends the song itself. Lars, brother, that's tough, my man. That is, it takes very, very special and gifted people, and I think the only person who would, I think, so far either comes... There's only like 2 people in my mind right now, because my mind's a little bit like all over the place. Rhino from Manowar and Nick Menza. But unfortunately, Menza is no longer with us. And Rhino is possibly one of the all-time greatest. And I don't even think Neil Peart... Well, I think maybe Rush is a bit of like a handicap in this, because Rush don't really go for metal; they're more rock based, but it kind of almost makes me wonder exactly how would Rush play a song like One. I know that will never happen, but with that being said, Rush have a fair number of songs about war and conflict in their arsenal anyway. It is what it is. But aside from that, ladies and gentlemen, if there's one thing I absolutely love taking away from One, is it grips your throat with a glove that's been made out of lilac. It still grips you, but it's sort of like a tender sort of grip. Disposable Heroes is like a glove made out of razor wire, and it's ready to throw you back to the front. One is going to carry you by the neck to the very back. Which, that is a slightly more comforting thought, if you could call anything about One comforting in any way. But that is going to do it, ladies and gentlemen. I hope all of you guys have enjoyed this reaction to One, and I will look forward to all of you guys again in the next video. Take care, and bye-bye for now.